Today we have Candace Brown from Sprott Shaw College. She's an early childhood education instructor, and I'm so thrilled to have you here. Thank you, Candace, for being here with us. And I'd like to start by asking you, you've worked in the industry for many, many years, and could you tell us what it takes to do this job?
Patience
Mhm.
and a love for never doing the same thing twice. So it's never the same from day to day, and
Mhm.
that's what I loved about it.
Tell us what you mean by that. Give us some examples for people who haven't ever worked in a classroom with young children, what that would look like.
Well, the children grow and develop from day to day. So one day they could not be able to do something, and then the next day they can, and it's such a thrill and so exciting. But and then they all have their own personalities and their own issues. So one day a child can be a complete angel, and then the next day something's going on. So they're kind of more challenging, and you have to rise to the occasion.
So, what would your role be in that? Rise into the occasion.
Well, I found that my instincts and my um, ability to sense what the issue was really helped me. And there was often times when another staff was dealing with a challenge and it wasn't going well, and I would come over and watch for a couple minutes, and then I'd be able to just kind of take her aside and say, hey, why don't you try this or this? And that would get her out of that challenge, that struggle.
So, as a lead teacher, which it sounds like you were a head teacher
Always from
always,
day one.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us then? So, is observation really important as a head teacher then in the
Yes.
classroom?
Yes. You have to keep an eye on each child throughout the day and from
Okay.
day to day, and observe where they are. And even just, I always opened the center, um, and I could,
Oh,
uh,
really? Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah, I always liked the morning shift. So when a child came in, I could talk to the parent and kind of get a gauge on how the child was for that day, and um, what
Wow.
the evening had been like, and what because parents always say, oh, they were up all night, or they were teething in the night, or
So you're getting a lot of
sick.
context for that day to set up that whole day with, wow, that's a huge
Yeah,
commitment. That's amazing. Okay.
yeah, it really helped
Hmm.
um, handle the little bumps that came up during the day.
Right. You could plan ahead that way.
Hmm.
Um, could you share with us what, say, for example, somebody's contemplating getting into this career? Could you share with us what some of the roles are involved in this and what type of a commitment it is? I think that, well, studying under you now, so thank you very much for being um, my mentor at this point in my life, because you certainly are. You inspire me every day. Could you tell me, please, like what it really takes, what roles and responsibilities? And I think a lot of people don't realize how much is involved in early childhood education. Could you kind of
Hmm.
explain that to us?
Yeah, I actually created a hat one time. I still have it in my um, storage. um, where I put all the different roles on a post-it on my
Oh,
hat.
cool. Hmm.
So we're nurses, we're therapists, we're um, uh, what's psychologists, and we're uh, early, early interventionists and child development specialists. We're um, janitors, we're cooks, we're cleaners, we're Like the list goes on. It's endless. Yeah.
So what is the perfect personality then to take on this role? What do you look for?
Well, you never can judge a book by the first day. It takes a couple days
Okay.
or a week to really know if that person's going to fit.
So when you're in a classroom and you're looking around and someone started a few days in, you look at this person and go, "You are awesome."
Yeah,
What are you seeing?
because they're down with the children, they're interacting with the children, they're showing support, they're showing care and concern,
Okay.
and then they're showing initiative, then they're getting in there and
Okay.
helping with anything that's available to do.
That's awesome. So you're the queen of guiding and caring.
Yeah,
No question
so
about
you
it.
say.
So yes, so do all of my classmates. So tell us a little bit about that.
Um, it's just been experience and what works, and um, working with children for so long, you just kind of get an idea that the most important thing is to really in, ask the child what is happening for you right now, why, and try and figure out with my intuition what their purpose, what their goal is. Like, why are they having this tantrum? Why are they not listening? There's something there, and
Okay.
trying to get to that reason is going to help you solve the problem. So you got to find the reason for the behavior before you can find a solution.
Okay. So how do you do that then if you're in a classroom with two teachers and 18 children?
Well, that's the thing. You work as a team,
Okay.
and if there's an issue going on, then the other two teachers or the other teacher will handle the scanning while you
Mhm,
get down
mhm.
and talk with that one child. And you can also um, keep an eye out. Like, you have to have eyes in the back of your head and your head on swivel.
Okay, great.
So it's about teamwork and knowing that those other staff are going to support you while you do those
Okay.
inquiries.
So making sure, so I guess when you're putting your team together, it's really important that you can tag team and work well together as well
Hmm.
then.
Yes,
Yeah.
I, that your partner is the reason you go back every day.
Okay. Hmm.
One who's doing it for
The right reason.
the right reasons.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not just
exactly.
a paycheck.
So what if you're in a classroom and you have your tag teaming with your partner, they're scanning the room, taking care of all that, and you have two or three children that have their little crisis, not little, but they have their crises at the same time. What do you do?
You take the most volatile first.
Okay.
like like if it's disrupting the flow of the class the most, that's the
Oh,
one you want to deal with first. So someone who's screaming really loud,
okay. What do you
you
do with
want
the other two if they're waiting and they're
you
up?
just watch
Okay.
and make sure that that doesn't escalate,
Okay.
and let them know with eye contact, I'm here, I'm watching, I see you.
Right.
And or you can touch their back, or just position yourself so that you can watch them at the same time and make them
Okay.
know or help them realize that you are there too for support.
Okay, so you did mention before that in our class that even if a child is running around the room, there's so many unspoken things you can do, like walk up to them and take their hand while you're talking to the rest of
Yep.
the group. I love that. So,
Yeah, those subtle little catch your eye sort of things, or
okay.
um, just showing them slow down, little
Okay.
hand movements,
Okay.
or like, what are you doing?
Right.
And you'd be surprised how often just catching their eye would work to settle them down. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. So, what's your favorite part of the job?
I think towards the end of my career, it was connecting with the parents and
Great.
helping them parent.
Okay.
So helping that child after hours, so to speak, with parenting.
And why is that so important?
Well, you want to have parents as a partner
Mhm.
with you. So often I see staff like roll their eyes and, oh, I can't believe that parent, and what is their problem? And you that's not the right attitude. The right attitude is, this parent's struggling, how can I help them? And
That's
and
wonderful.
in doing so, I help the child and I help my classroom.
Mhm. That's wonderful. So, what are some ways you would suggest for early childhood educators to invite the parents in and to make it more collaborative with the parents? What are some things they can keep in mind to implement into their programs?
You know what I found that's most effective in making that connection is smiling. Like
Mm.
smiling and asking questions about their day and asking questions about their parenting, and just smile and nod and get to know them, ask questions and make that connection. Once you have that connection, you have to maintain it. And so take those couple minutes in the morning to hold their child while you talk to them, and ask them about their jobs and their schedules, and just ask them questions. Yeah.
And what would you say to parents who are home right now with their little ones and they're not wanting to have their children maybe attend daycare or preschool? What would you say to them? Like, what kind of tips could you provide them from home?
I would say do an observation if you can of the center you're planning on putting your child in, because what happens in and walk through is quite different than actually
Mm.
seeing it in action. So if you
Oh,
can,
okay.
I mean, times are tough right now, but in the future, if you're able to do an observation of the day and trust your gut, because
Okay.
it will tell you if things are off. And um, the cheapest, most convenient center is not always the best one.
Right.
You got to really look for that quality.
What are some of your favorite types of early childhood philosophies and curriculums?
I love a blend of Montessori, Reggio, and play all together. So
Mhm.
there's a lot, so much of Montessori's philosophy that I love. And the Reggio Emilia is so nature bound that I appreciate that. And then I really want children to have fun and play. So it's kind of a blend.
So teaching through play and guiding through play and nurturing through play to help children develop certain social skills before they go into kindergarten. How important is that?
It's super important. Children are going to be more successful if they have experience in groups. The child who goes into kindergarten from home is going to be quite overwhelmed at times, and a child from uh, daycare, preschool is going to have that experience with group dynamics and is going to be more successful. The research shows that they eventually equal out, but that first experience in group dynamics is going to be easier on the child who has experience with it.
Some parents are always thinking my child, if I use the flashcards earlier, if I give them this head start,
Yeah.
but that's not the answer. So I kind of wanted to end with talking about how our like what is our ultimate goal in early childhood education.
Yeah, I believe that the goal of for children in pre-kindergarten is to play and learn how to be in a group, and how what is successful is how to make friends, how to have fun. And they're going to be in school for the next 20 years or whatever,
Right.
so
Mhm.
let them have fun. Let it be fun. It can be informative, but sitting a 3 or 4-year-old down to work on a worksheet, I think, is a crime. It's just not okay. They they don't have the ability to work those problems out. They don't have the brain capacity to do it.
So what are some of the what you with respect to program planning then, and what you should have in your classroom to whether it doesn't matter what the philosophy or what curriculum or materials you have, like what would you recommend if you're going to set up a center? Right now, the government's off, there's a lot going on to
Yeah.
support early childhood education. What would you recommend somebody if they're in the process of taking the program, and they're considering even setting up a small center in their home? What would you recommend?
Um, I would, number one, focus on making that connection with the parents. Um, Focus on being close to nature, having the children be close to nature, working on the science, and um, working on having the child take care of the classroom themselves.
Ooh,
So
okay.
teaching the children to hang up their coats, teaching the children to clean up from lunchtime or set up from lunch for snack time, cut up the snack. So that's where the Montessori comes in. Just really allow the children to have ownership in the classroom. I just think that would be amazing. And if you can start with the first, teaching the first child, and then they teach the next child and the
Oh,
next
okay.
child and the
Mhm.
next child, you're going to have a winning situation. And always have a love for the children. Keep
Okay.
that in your focus. Yeah.
What if you have a favorite child in the class?
I just dealt with this yesterday at an observation. Um, the student was trying to be sweet and loving, and she said, "Oh, this one's my favorite." But she said it quite loudly,
Oh,
and
no.
the child she was speaking to heard her, and I'm sure other children heard her. And it just really didn't sit well with me.
Mhm.
So I can honestly say I had favorites, but nobody knew.
Right.
No one knew.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What if there's a child in the class that, their personality, it's really hard for you to manage their personality, or there's just, um, dynamic between you? How do you handle that in a really professional, nurturing way?
You fall back on your teachings and what you learned
Mhm.
and what you feel is important, and just see that child for who they are and innocent, and they're not doing anything to you or to aggravate you. They're just being themselves, and it's different than what you prefer. But you have to go in it prepared for that. And sometimes if you have a partner, you can have them deal with some of the issues and take a break from it, or you can take turns, or however you work it out. Just always keep in mind that child's not doing it on purpose.
So there's a reason for every behavior, and it's
Yes.
important to remember that as a teacher.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Uh,
Find out that reason and
thank you, okay.
solve the mystery. Ask a lot
This
of questions.
Ask a lot of questions, okay.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
type of questions do we ask?
So, how are you feeling today? What's happening at home? Um, are you getting along with your friends? Is there a friend you really like? Is there something you really like to do in the classroom? Can we get some more of that going? Do you like music? Do you like art? Do you like,
Okay.
yeah.
So open-ended questions to start a conversation. Okay, this has been very helpful. So could I have you share whatever you want with the parents and whatever you want with the teachers, like as a closing?
Yeah, for the parents, trust your gut. If it feels like a happy, healthy place, then it probably is. But if you feel like there's even one staff that is kind of negative and grumpy,
Mhm.
then that's going to affect the classroom. So be aware of it. Yeah.
How would you handle that? Say you have your child enrolled in a program, you love it, your child loves it, and then there's one staff member there that's sort of ruining the party. What would you do? What would you
I would
recommend?
I would ask my child about that staff, and like in a very careful way,
Right.
just kind of figure out what their relationship with that staff is. And if it's negative, then you have something to worry about. But if she just says, I don't know, she's just a teacher, then you're probably okay.
You're probably okay because even if that person might not be your ideal choice, they're not necessarily directly affecting your child because they might
Right.
not even be spending any time with them. So,
Right. Yeah.
oh, okay. Cool.
And there are other great staff in the room, then you're probably okay.
Okay, so it'll balance it out. And what is your final comments for the teachers then?
Um, well, I hope that for all my students, I hope they go into the field and see the joy in the children that I did,
Mhm.
see the fascination of how they handle their development and how they get through their day. And I tried to just make it a little brighter for
Okay.
each of the children. I'd spend a special time with each of the children throughout the day. So just always keep that in mind, that you're there for this little innocent person that you want to help get through
Oh,
their day.
okay, that's wonderful. And why do you think that this is an amazing career choice for somebody who is a caring, creative?
I was never bored, but it's never the same day twice. It's really quite interesting. So if you get bored easily or if you get tired of monotony, then this is the job for you. And if you love children, of course. Yeah,
Okay, great. Thank you for your time. And
you're
yeah, I
welcome.
look forward to class this afternoon. Okay.
Okay, we'll see you
Thank
later.
thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.